Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Business, Wine and Cheese. We're very excited about this one. We have a good friend of ours, Teresa Truda, speaker, entrepreneur, educator, amazing person. Stick around and let us know what you thought. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Business, Wine and Cheese. We've got Teresa Truda here, good friend of ours, entrepreneur, educator, freelancer, gun for hire, whatever you like. She's done it all. We're very happy to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
So thank you for coming. We keep this very casual.
Mm.
So the fact that you didn't see what we want to talk about is great.
Mm.
So today we have a few commonalities, you and I. One of them being we'll drink anything that's wet.
Woo!
And
dry.
Yeah, exactly. We'll just drink. But your best friend is my wife.
Yeah.
And it's also my brother's birthday today, so I thought we'd pull out some Prosecco because it's my wife's favourite drink is Prosecco, and we're celebrating Michael's 30th birthday as well.
I already sent her a photo.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
She's very jealous. So, sorry, Brie. So while I'm pouring this, this is Australian, by the way, from the King Valley. Little Helper from one of the lucky dip boxes we got from Vino Mofo. The bottle of $900 Grange wasn't in there, but we got this.
For God's sake.
Yeah. So we're pretty
We got teas with the red top.
The red top of the bottle. Anyway, so there's a bit of cheese here as well. Help yourself.
I'm lactose intolerant.
Yeah, that's why I put cheese there. And I knew this goes for half an hour, so I was going to test you. So usually we start with your origin story.
Mm.
I came to a talk you did a year or two ago at Fuck Up Nights.
Yeah.
Which I thought summarised some of that pretty well.
Yeah.
So no pressure, you don't have to repeat that talk, but
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about where you've come from. But firstly, cheers.
Oh, cheers.
Cheers.
And welcome.
Happy Friday.
Don't drink
Thanks,
too
guys.
much
All right.
until we're done.
Just a sip.
Mm.
Origin story. I was born in 1986. And origin story, where do I start? So
What makes you
what makes me? The fact that my mum at 14 years and 9 months drove me down to Safeway when it was legal to start working with my CV and was like, give my daughter a job. And I started working. So that's probably what makes me.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah. I guess just from a really young age, I've always had this ability drive to just work and work hard.
Yeah.
And like everything has, even though it would be a challenge, I'd be like, I'll take that challenge on.
Yeah.
So I think kind of my drive and determination makes me, I'd say. And I'm a bit like above the law. If someone tells me not to do something, I'll do it. Or try to do it.
For sure.
So like origin story, I've always worked really hard, and I started off in advertising. I was studying full-time and working full-time in an ad agency in the digital department. And so I kind of started my career there. I just sort of fell into the digital department and started in account service and moved my way up to production and started working on some pretty big like tech projects. And that's when I had the passion found the passion for tech, digital, and working in an industry which was so like fast paced, always exciting, shit was changing, really dynamic. And so kind of started there, and I also got a lot of adrenaline from working in advertising because you'd always be meeting deadlines and there'd always be new things happening, and it was really fun. So I guess I started there and
Awesome student.
Awesome
High
student.
school?
Yeah, totally. I was a really great student. I didn't go to most of my year 11 classes because I was wagging with your wife. Do you know what someone said to me just the other day? If they had the systems that they did now, like, because you get text messages when your kids don't go to school these days. Really? Like, I would have been stuffed back in year 11.
Your mum's
my
phone
parents,
would have been
my mum's phone would have been going wild.
There were no wooden spoons left.
Nokia.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So yeah, great student. But aside from that, so started like my career in advertising, loved it, and then had this drive just always to want to do more. And I think I was inspired by working on other people's brands, but I was like, I could work on my own brand and I could do my own thing. And so what kind of kicked off the entrepreneurial thing was I fell in love with a pair of boots in Mexico. They were leather boots, and because I fell in love with them, I bought like 5 pairs in different colours. And I was like, I love them, so the rest of the world's going to love them. So I brought a suitcase of these boots back from Mexico. I was like, I'm just going to set up an e-commerce store and like see what happens, see if people buy this. And I just didn't realise what I was getting myself into at the time. I thought because like I loved these boots that everyone else was going to love them and that they'd buy them straight away. And that wasn't the case. It took a lot of work. Like it took a lot of work in the fashion industry to build a brand, a lot of money, you know, but also I learnt a lot about like a supply chain, working in an industry that I had no idea about other than just liking these boots.
What about the language barrier?
No, it was all right. Miguel spoke pretty good English back in Mexico, and I got to go to Mexico heaps, which was awesome. But it sort of started off as a bit of a passion project, and it ended up turning into something a little bit more once I kind of worked it out. And so I was doing that, freelancing and advertising, and at the time, I'd been asked to go over for a trip to the States to do a talk to represent one of the ad agencies. And I was just super busy and a sort of like time poor, busy business professional. And then kind of came up with this concept of like, you know, this ad agency's paying for me to go. They're sorting out my hotel. They're sorting out my flights. But when I get to this place in the States, like I have no idea what I'm going to do, where I'm going to go. And so I saw this like gap in the market for basically millennial business travellers that had a disposable income to be able to get like ancillary services on the ground. And so I started this app. I wouldn't call it an app at the time. It was just a very manual validation where I was just testing the market to see if other people had that same need as me. And so I started...
Which you didn't do when you did the Pata Pata.
No, I built a website. Well, no, we didn't test the market, but we didn't test the market properly with the app either. Okay. You know, I'll talk about that more. But I learned a lot from that. But you know, we tested it, but not amongst like hundreds of thousands of people. We tested it amongst like 50 people. I'm pretty sure you were one of the people that texted me and asked me for like a haircut or something. With your wife, you know, and we were like, everyone wants this. No worries.
Yeah. Give me $2 million seed funding now.
But I mean, it sparked off something like, you know, it sparked off this desire to want to create this product because we felt like people needed it, especially again because we felt like we needed it.
Usually the best ideas come from something that the founders needed.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And so we went and spent, and this is probably what you're talking about in my fuck up nights thing, but we went and spent near $250,000 in developing our MVP, and then realised after spending that we had to rebuild it all again because it was too new. Like after 6 months of having this business, we realised that we had to pivot the whole concept, and so we sort of spent a lot of money up front getting this app off the ground and realising that there were so many holes and that it just wasn't that easy, you know, like when you build apps and products for other people, for other brands, these big brands that I was working with in ad agencies, they had a big brand and they were established. Whereas we were like starting a brand from scratch. No one knew about us. We barely validated the concept, but we threw a bunch of cash into it.
So it was easier to get users on board from those brands.
Oh,
they've
totally.
They've
already got, Whereas we were going to crickets. We were going to the 50 people that texted us, our mates, just like taking the piss, like, we want a haircut when we're in Sydney. You know, it was like,
we're not paying for it.
We're not paying. Can you organise it? Yeah. But you know, so there was that. It was a huge learning lesson actually because we just sort of went all in really quickly. But what was great, I mean, I look at it now and I laugh, but at the time it probably wasn't that great. But what was great was putting that investment and that time into the product actually got us to the next stage. So we ended up getting to an accelerator program in China, and got investment from Chinese American investors, and they liked our concept. They could see that we had something, and they said to us, come over to China and try and rebuild this for the Chinese market, and we'll give you some money.
Yep.
And so we packed our bags. I packed 3 suitcases and went, Mum, Dad, I'm going to China. And they freaked out.
Yeah.
So did most of the people in my world. They were like, what? You've gone from sort of like selling shoes online, Mexican shoes, to freelancing, to just now going to China to like do this app. And I was like, what's the worst case scenario? You know, you spend 3 months there and I come back and I have to live with my parents in Essendon.
Well, the worst case scenario is that you don't come back.
Yeah.
Because the
I'm
Chinese
dead, or...
government, exactly. Because they try and extort you, say no, and they kill you.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I was wondering what the death.
You got close
what
to
was
that,
the result
right?
of death. Yeah. Pretty close. We won't talk about it.
Yeah.
So then, so went over there and honestly thought that I was going for 3 months and was there for almost 4 years. And
Okay.
built this product, ended up having the business pivoted, or the product pivoted so much to end up being a travel, what we call an ecosystem. It's a bit of a wanky word, but a travel ecosystem for Chinese travelers to basically get personalized services around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was backed by cryptocurrency, and we built on the blockchain, and we ended up expanding it very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And that was our determination for sure, because we were 2 white women in China, and that was a real challenge. We were working in tech, a really competitive space, but we ended up doing quite well out of it, which was good. But it took so much hard work, and it took heaps of, resistance and knockbacks, and just for us to stay determined and just like, know we're going to do this.
What do you think gave you that? Like, I've always known you as that sort of person that, like you said at the start, right?
Yeah.
Someone telling you no doesn't enter your brain at all.
It really doesn't.
But, sort of dealing with adversity, and I mean, we've all had a lot of that, and especially in business, you come across a lot of that. I think if you don't, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
You should probably be thinking, why aren't I coming across something should be happening, right? So if you're pushing the boundaries especially, so how have you, sort of kept focus while dealing with things that have come up? Because it's not easy.
Great question.
What's the alternative, I guess?
I think after having so many setbacks, so much rejection with funding, so many people telling you that your idea is shit, or that you need to do this or you should do that, it got to a point where I started to realize actually none of these people are really in my business, and they don't really know the ins and outs of my day-to-day. I'm 5 times ahead of them in my head strategically. I kind of know what's going on, and starting to have a bit more conviction in my own decisions, my own intuition really helped, and just filtering out the crap, because you realize, and I say this all the time, but opinions are like assholes. Like, everyone's got one, and everyone wants to tell you what they think of your business, of the way that you run your life, all of that. And so I think a lot of it was just over time building confidence in myself and, the team that I had around me at the time, to just actually know that what we were doing was good, and not just self-confidence, but also, once you actually build a product that starts to work, you're like, okay, it's all right. I can believe in what I'm doing.
Yep.
And yeah, definitely just like learning how to filter stuff, and realize that you just need to believe in yourself. But not to the point where, self-awareness, and not to the point of believing in yourself where you're just like fooling yourself.
No, of course,
What did you do that helped that?
People.
You
know what? It was people.
You?
It was the people around me. It was those people that would spend, 30 minutes of their day, and they're the busiest people in the world.
Yeah.
Like C-level execs, and they'd still spend 30 minutes a day of their day with me having a coffee and giving me actual strategic advice.
Yeah.
And I think surrounding myself with a great network of people really helped me get to that point.
Because I hear a lot of that from a lot of people in business. Everyone's putting their ideas down, but like you said, they've got opinions. But instead of having an opinion, why can't you just give a bit of feedback to make someone's life a little bit easier? If you see them struggling, you find those people that, like the busy entrepreneurs, gave you that sort of feedback, rather than those people that are giving you. Does that make sense?
I started to filter who I was hanging out with, right? and started to hang out with people that would actually ask me questions to lead me to a decision rather than give me their opinion.
Yeah.
And I found the more and more that I did that, I opened up my network to a bunch of
There was more context
people.
that way.
Yeah, so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was contextual, and people actually, I was surrounding myself with people that wanted to see me succeed rather than just like tear down my stuff. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it was a really big thing. People's a huge thing. Who you surround yourself with, what time you put into other people as well.
I literally just shared
Energy.
a post this morning about that point with the, that classic sort of photo of that, pile of diamonds and one person's digging this way and they turn back because people are telling them to, and the other one that keeps going and actually gets there.
Yeah, totally.
It happens every day.
Yeah.
And you don't know, because if you decide to give up, you never know if you would have gotten there.
I know. Yeah, so true.
Absolutely.
There's definitely an element of like keeping down a path that is a good one, and just really having that conviction.
I also think that sometimes all the paths that you're going to might not be the good one, but it might be the good one for that moment that will teach you what's coming next.
Yeah,
I strongly believe in that.
totally.
Well, that's worked out for us, right?
Oh yeah,
Sort of,
and that's what I'm hearing from her.
It's
like,
cliche, but it's fate is essentially what we're saying, right? Like it's everything happens for a reason. But in saying that, though, you need to put yourself in a position for that to happen.
Yeah.
It's not like The Secret where you just sit there and like, I want to be a millionaire and it's going to happen.
Yeah.
You need to actually be in the game.
Yeah, I think that, I always think that challenges...
I think you need to tell yourself that I want to be successful and I'm going to do whatever it takes.
Yes, but the action and the execution is what makes that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think putting yourself in uncomfortable situations too, as hard as it was. Like, I remember being in China and just crying before I'd go to these like networking events and being like, it's just full of startup wankers that are going to be talking about revenue after a month, and it's just like, this isn't the reality, guys. Like, I've just lost $250,000 on an MVP and I'm going to burn even more, you know. Yeah. And it's just like, I remember putting myself in some really shit situations that I really didn't want to be in, but I always got something out of them. And so it's putting yourself in those situations, and they always lead to an outcome that, whether positive, negative, whatever, they lead to some kind of outcome or learning, I felt. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I think you definitely learn.
And people will see
if you're not learning,
if the intent is not right, you won't get anything out of it. People will see that, right? I mean, we see that. You just spoke of the startup wankers that you'd come across, right? So it's you can tell. You can absolutely tell. So that's all cool. So I wanted to also ask you, because obviously you have done and still do a lot of stuff around women in tech, and you've been a massive advocate of that. And we've got half our team is female, and we're trying to find new talent all the time. So I guess, what's your opinion at the moment in the state of the union in terms of women in tech specifically? And where
it's
do you
funny
think
that
it
you
needs
asked
to go?
this. I've started doing this because I always get asked to do speaking gigs about being a woman in tech.
Yep.
And my latest topic is, it's not a thing. Like, I don't, and sometimes it's a bit controversial, but I guess I think there's a bit of or it sort of got a bit out of control, where it was like, being a woman in tech's a thing. And totally, I'm all for women in tech, don't get me wrong, but I also think that we don't need to create such a big deal about it. Like, we're all humans and we're all just talented.
I agree.
Whether you work in tech, whether you work in, I don't know, cheese, wine.
Yeah.
But like, I've started sort of talking about the fact that it's not really a thing, and it's just about determination and, what drive you've got.
Yeah,
I think it's really healthy, absolutely. But it just really shouldn't be a thing.
Yeah,
like,
it should be.
It
should be everybody and everybody who.
I think so.
It should be a natural thing, not a forced thing.
Yeah,
right?
totally. And it feels like it kind of spiraled a bit out of control for a while, and maybe we just need to calm down a little bit. Can I say that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's just how I feel about it, because I think that everyone has challenges. I think it's great that people are advocates for women in technology and all of that, and I am too. I just joined a Women in Tech board, so I'm not saying anything bad about it. I'd love to see more women progress, but I just don't think
I haven't really thought about that as much.
I think the reason, and I can't speak for clearly not a woman, but I can't speak for others, but I think my observation was, or is, the reason why it got so loud is because of the fact that, you know, it was or is such a boys' club, and there clearly has been an intentional sort of, you know, I wouldn't call it a strategy, but it has been intentional at the top around, you know, that obvious white middle-aged, well, not even not so much middle-aged, but it's sort of,
I don't know,
the opportunities that are given, it's sort of people have that's just been the normal thing that's happened.
Yeah, it has a little bit, but and then I go back to this before you said to me, like when we first started, you were like, what makes you this way? I just think I'm not wired. I've never been wired in that conventional way. So sitting in a boardroom with 10 men, I don't go, oh shit, I'm the only woman in here.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm just going to do my job and dominate and whatever,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But I think it does take a certain way of thinking and conditioning to kind of be that way.
For sure.
So I understand that,
I think it's the same way that a woman needs to adapt to, like one woman being adapted to, I mean, it should be it's the other way around as well.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing as if I'm stepping into a room with a really smart developers and I'm not a developer.
Yeah.
It's
100%.
kind of the same.
I think the bottom line is what hasn't been taught, and we've spoken about this before around automation and technology coming in. The one thing that will always remain supreme is empathy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Like, if everyone just had that, then they'd understand how to get along. Or not even get along, just coexist, right?
Totally.
No,
Bit of emotional intelligence.
Absolutely.
No, it's so true. So I like, I'm not railroading that. I'm just saying that I think that it's time for us to move forward a little bit and not be like such a, oh my God, it's amazing that there's a woman that codes. It's like, yeah, cool. Like, so what? She's smart.
I guess it's just an education around that fact.
Yeah,
I did like The Net, but you know the movie The Net with Sandra Bullock. She was like coding.
Oh, yeah. That's really old, isn't it?
I was going to say...
Yeah, I'm pretty old.
We're talking sort of 1990s.
I actually watched it the other day. That's why I'm actually putting it up.
In playgrounds.
Sorry. There's no Taylor Swift here. Sorry.
So, cool. So after Chosen, which was the app, you got back from China and you're freelancing.
Yeah.
And you had done it previously as well, but...
Yeah.
Obviously, the gig economy, freelance economy has grown a lot since you were away.
Yeah, it has. To be honest, when I came back, I wasn't sure what I was going to do. Like, and I was like, I can't. Once you run a business, it's really hard to go into a full-time gig, a very sort of structured corporate 9 to 5, that thing. And so I just started. I don't even know how I started. I guess like. I already had a lot of contacts from the industry, and so just put the feelers out to see what there was. And I ended up doing a lot of like workshops and training last year for smaller businesses and for other companies. And so I think that introduced me to a bunch of who are now my clients that I freelance for. And so that was really valuable. But yeah, so I've been freelancing, and the freelance market, I mean, I do a lot of like digital strategy, I'm also digital strategy, business advising, consulting, tech consulting. I just get pulled in for different stuff.
And that's just through your network?
All through network, yeah. And like it's been really surprising because I haven't had to like, you know, call anyone and just be like, can you give me a job?
That's awesome.
It's been really nice. And it's quite rewarding working on different clients, different industries. And just doing a bit of a variety. So I kind of, you know, dabble in production, strategy.
Might spark the next idea.
Well, you know, and that was the other thing. I wasn't really ready to start something else. I had a bit of like PTSD from the whole running a company and being in China and all of that. So, but now I think a year and a bit on, it's felt like I'm ready. I'm ready to maybe start something again next year or join something or, we'll see.
Cool. So, you know, you've spoken a lot about sort of testing, and obviously there's a lot of art, there's a lot of science behind that sort of stuff, and marketing in general. You need to sort of understand the numbers or have a team that sort of understands the science behind it. But being in ad world as well, there's a lot of art that sort of come together. What's your opinion on, you know, successful strategies and executions in advertising, the mix between art and science?
Yeah, I think as someone that did both, like just went and bought these boots, for example, and just thought that it would work. And same with, with not being very scientific, what I've realised is that you need the science to be able to really actually validate whether something works. And I think there's got to be a balance and a mix, and in advertising it isn't all creative now. There's a lot of strategy that goes into it. There's a lot of even brands are doing their own performance marketing and working out the data and the science behind all their Facebook and Google ads and stuff. So I actually think it's quite a sweet spot that we're in, because you're able to balance creativity with data, numbers, what's performing, what's not, optimizing it, testing and learning. I actually think it's really important. And there's a good mix kind of thing.
But how because you're only exposure to, and don't have to put any clients under the bus or anything, obviously. But
I love all my clients.
Yeah, absolutely. But
great.
I'm not talking about just your clients, but what you've seen out in the market. How do you think? And you're obviously, well, not obvious. I'm assuming you're working with different size businesses.
Yeah, totally.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, a lot of businesses that go to agencies for this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
As opposed to getting the right sort of people internal that are more about business results as opposed to sort of the fluffy results.
Yeah.
How do you sort of think, do you think it's being done right? In my opinion, from what I've seen a lot, is that it's still that whole sort of vanilla TV ad sort of idea that it's we're going to put together this amazing thing that makes us feel really good, but not really addressing the audience.
Yeah, I think I think the space has changed heaps. Back in 2010.
In the old days.
No, actually, I started in 2007. But back in 2010, there was this whole sort of creative, it's going to make us feel really good, whatever. And then clients were like, yeah, I can kind of see through that. And we need to get some people that know the numbers in-house. And then clients went and hired their own teams in-house. And then they realised that they didn't really have full-time positions for them, so they fired them. Then they've gone now back to the agencies. And I think that the agency model is actually changing from these creative, great ideas, we'll just do something that makes us look cool and sends us around the world. I think it's actually changing, and they're challenged to change because clients are becoming a lot more savvier. They're able, with Facebook Business Manager, for example, they're able to do their own ads. They can see the numbers, they can learn it. And I think that it's becoming a lot more accessible for clients. So agencies are forced to change their ways. And there's a big
do you think because it's accessible they also see it it's too much for you to learn?
Yeah, it depends really.
Depends on the
it depends on
internally.
and it depends on the size of the business. I mean, I work with a lot of small to medium sized businesses. But I was going to say to that even the agencies, I think agencies are feeling the pressure more so than ever.
There's more competition,
now.
right?
Yeah, competition. Also, startups are threatening agencies, right? Because startups are now just making amazing products and then going and hitting up corporates or big brands and just going, do you like my product? Want it? And so agencies are now forced to innovate a lot more and be a little bit more accountable for numbers and performance.
Yep.
So you see a lot of the agencies transforming from creative agency to digital transformation and innovative agency or innovation agency, and it's actually really interesting to see a lot of agencies are kind of going a little bit more boutique, a little bit more niche.
Yeah.
And
they're
going
going
into
art
the
and
performance
science
space. Yeah.
instead of just art. They're putting both in there.
Yeah. So I actually think it's quite a healthy movement.
Yeah, that's good.
Is that what you would advise maybe a new startup or agency that's in that space to be more niche?
I think I've learned over the years from trying to do too many things at once, or trying to run 10 businesses, or trying to do all the functions in the app within a month. It's pick your thing, and roll with it and be really good at it, and then expand to the next thing. I think I remember a conversation that we had years ago, and you were like, I mean, why China and why Asia? Why not just Melbourne? And they were Melbourne. Yeah. And I was like, because I can do all of it. And it's that same thing of cool, you can, but it'd be much easier if you start, it'd be much easier if you just start small, and get really good and become known for being
Yeah.
professional in that.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, I think there's such great opportunities as well for startups, particularly, if you're coming up with innovative products, it's great for them to be able to contact brands, and actually there's huge room for like innovation with brands. I
Well,
think,
the
at the
internet
moment.
and social media, essentially, the internet is
Yeah.
the friction's gone now, right?
Yeah.
So there's no more the
Mm.
barriers to entry. It's just increased competition. So there's still going to be, we're talking top end of town. They're still stuck on, the executives are still stuck on, TV and overpriced billboards and all that sort of stuff. But I think in the lower end of town, people are very savvy. You're right. I think they're either working it out themselves or they're finding there's enough agencies out there that are able to execute and provide business results quickly.
Based on your experience and based on the fact that I have a few people watching this, what are 3 things that you kind of like tell people that they should watch out for or do as a startup?
As a startup?
Yeah. You've got that experience.
Definitely validate.
Yeah.
And validate without spending money.
Yeah.
Or as little money as possible.
Yeah.
Because what you think is a good idea generally, because it might come, like we said, from a need that you have.
Yeah.
But really making sure that other people have that.
Does anyone care?
Does anyone give a shit? And do they really give a shit? And are they really going to use it?
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing. Validation. Working out kind of the vision for what your product or service is and believing in that vision and then being able to get other people on your journey of that vision. So not talking shit, but being able to sell the vision, because often when you've got a business or a product and it's not quite at the point that you want it to be, you get bogged down by that when you're trying to bring other people on your journey. And it's like trying to actually articulate and sell your vision is a really valuable thing. So people will come on the journey a lot earlier.
They find that they join in the purpose.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. And being really transparent, like, not there, but this is where we want to be, rather than like, oh, we're there. Yeah. And the third thing, people. Like, surround yourself with a great network of people, and give back what you get as well. Don't just be...
Yeah, I'm a strong believer of that.
Yeah, it's huge. Like, the world really does go around.
I really think that, if you're in this together, you blossom together. So if you got someone that just needs your help, just remember you were in that position before. And you wish you had someone that could give you just a little bit of a hand to get over that hurdle that you're in. So don't forget to give back a little, I think that's really important.
Yeah, I always used to say, like, if someone sat with me for a day before, when I first moved to China and just went, China crash course, this is what you're up for in the next 4 years. Yeah. Like, I wouldn't have stayed 4 years. It would have been like, great, done. I know what
Here's
needs
your future,
to happen.
all right, I'm out.
I think we should.
And then it is actually about creating experiences and having those experiences yourself. It's like when your parents used to tell you not to do something and then you jump off the monkey bars and break your...
But at least that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you just wish you had that person just to give you a little bit of guidance, so you don't fall flat on your face really hard.
Yeah.
Nice one. Yeah. So before we finish this bottle, let's do the lightning round.
The lightning round. Okay, so
God.
Lightning round.
Look. Just quick answers.
All right, go.
Quick answers,
all right,
okay?
So just what comes to my head.
Yeah, that's it.
I like an answer as well.
Okay.
All right. One thing you can't live without.
Ooh! There's too many things. Right now, my motorbike.
Okay. Favorite type of wine?
Prosecco.
Ooh.
Say
Pinot Noir.
Say it again because the microphone's really far away today.
Prosecco. Little helper Prosecco.
Favorite band or artist?
Talking Heads.
Good choice.
Not John Mayer.
Nah.
Okay.
Sorry, Brie.
Good.
Sounds a bit of a pussy. Entrepreneur most admire?
Get asked this all the time. I don't actually have one. I will tell you, I've recently sort of become friends with a great mentor who's not that well known, but this is can I digress? I know these are lightning questions, but it goes to show you that you never know who you sort of meet and who to speak to. But I once met this lady when I first got back from China. She was standing, she's quite old,
Yep.
or a bit older, she won't mind me saying that. And she's standing out the front of a building taking a photo on her phone. And
Yep.
I went up to her and I said, geez, it's so refreshing to see an older person not taking a photo on their iPad.
Yep.
She was dressed like quite, quite quirky and whatever. And she just pissed it. I thought this is going to go
That is
down like
hilarious.
either really well or she's going to knock me out.
Yeah.
And she just started pissing herself in hysterics. She was like, I think we should have lunch. And so we went and had lunch that day.
Yeah,
And
that's
since
awesome.
then, she's a famous author.
Yeah.
I had no idea. She's been my mentor and just like a real inspiration in the last year.
That's awesome.
And it's just like, you just never know who you're going to meet.
That's it.
You know, like
That's exactly
it
what
was
we
so
want to know.
random. Anyway, digressed.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
What do you fun?
What do I do for fun? Do
Yeah.
you really want to know? Or spend time with quality people.
Awesome.
Mm.
And what is the last CD you bought?
Ooh!
Brushes.
Hit Machine. No, it wasn't. Last CD I bought was probably John Mayer.
Texting or talking?
Voice messages.
Voice.
I've been trying it for far
She
too long.
writes one word per
Yeah.
text message.
Yeah, I
She's
can't.
like me.
I hate it. I hate a text. I'd rather just quickly give a little
No,
voice
no.
message.
You write 600
Yeah, I
texts
know.
instead of a sentence.
Yeah,
Okay.
easier. Get it out.
And the nickname your parents gave you?
Ah. No nickname. It was just like my dad in a very thick Italian accent. Teresa!
That's a nickname.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Hey,
Yeah,
thanks.
awesome.
Cheers.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having me.
Cheers.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Please leave your feedback. We'd love to hear from you. Cheers.
Cheese.
Can I have some cheese now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to watch more episodes as I launch. Don't forget to share with your friends and click here to watch more videos.